Breaking developments in Canadian politics. Prime Minister Mark Carney has boarded a plane, not bound for Washington, but for Europe. At a time when Canada's relationship with the United States is strained under Donald Trump's tariffs and fiery rhetoric, Carney is charting a bold new course. His mission: to deepen and diversify Canada's alliances with Europe, reduce reliance on the United States, and prove that Canada can stand on its own in an unpredictable world. This trip is no ordinary diplomatic tour. It's Carney's fourth visit to Europe since March, and it comes at a critical moment. While Trump has been weaponizing trade, raising tariffs to historic levels, and threatening America's allies, Carney is quietly building Canada's future across the Atlantic. And make no mistake, this is about far more than photo ops. It's about energy. It's about defense. It's about critical minerals and industrial power. And above all, it's about sovereignty. For decades, Canada's prosperity has been tied overwhelmingly to the United States. 80% of our exports cross that single border. When Trump slammed Canada with 35% tariffs earlier this month, it exposed just how vulnerable that dependence has become. Carney knows that if Canada wants to withstand future shocks, whether from Washington politics, global trade wars, or regional instability, it needs new partners. Europe is the answer. From Poland to Germany to Latvia, Carney is laying the groundwork for a new economic and security reality. This pivot isn't just symbolic. It is deliberate, strategic, and rooted in one idea. Canada must move from reliance to resilience, and that means carving out space in Europe's energy grids, defense networks, and industrial supply chains. Carney's first stop is Poland, a country that has become the front line of NATO's standoff with Russia and a hub for European energy transformation. In Warsaw, Carney is meeting Prime Minister Donald Tusk and President Karol Nawrocki to hammer out deals in energy security, defense, aerospace, and critical minerals. Poland sees Canada as a crucial partner in providing reliable energy, from liquefied natural gas exports to potential hydrogen projects. On defense, Ottawa is aligning with Poland's growing military role, not just to show solidarity, but to anchor Canadian industry into European procurement. And let's not forget Ukraine. Poland is the main staging ground for Western support to Kyiv. Carney's presence in Warsaw underscores Canada's role as more than a backseat ally. It says, Canada is a frontline partner in defending democracy in Europe. From Poland, Carney travels to Berlin, where the agenda expands. Germany, under Chancellor Friedrich Merz, is racing to secure critical minerals for its electric vehicle and clean tech ambitions. Ottawa has what Berlin needs: cobalt, nickel, lithium, and rare earths. For Canada, this is leverage. By tying Canadian mining and processing into Europe's industrial transformation, Carney ensures demand for Canadian resources skyrockets, while reducing Europe's dependence on China. But it's not just minerals. Carney's delegation includes the Minister of Natural Resources, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of Industry, all signaling that Canada wants comprehensive deals on energy, manufacturing, defense procurement, and clean technology. Remember, Germany is the economic powerhouse of Europe. If Carney locks in strong bilateral agreements here, he positions Canada as a primary non-U.S. supplier to Europe's future economy. And that is diversification in action. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Back in June, Carney signed a historic security and defense partnership with the European Union. It gave Canada a stake in the EU's €150 billion SAFE fund, the first of its kind between the EU and any American nation. This deal means Canadian firms can bid on European defense contracts. It means joint training and procurement, and it means Europe sees Canada as more than just a NATO ally. They see us as a long-term partner in building a self-reliant Europe. Why does this matter? Because while Trump has mocked NATO, questioned America's commitments, and demanded allies pay more, Carney is quietly proving that Canada doesn't have to wait for U.S. approval. We can build partnerships directly on our own terms with like-minded democracies. The final leg of Carney's trip takes him to Latvia, where nearly 2,000 Canadian troops are stationed as part of NATO's Operation Reassurance. This is Canada's largest overseas military deployment and one of the most visible signs of our commitment to European security. In Riga, Carney will meet Canadian troops and NATO leaders, reinforcing that Canada is not just showing up with words, but with boots on the ground. This matters. Latvia borders Russia. The symbolism is powerful. While Trump questions NATO, Canada doubles down on it. By being there in person, Carney sends a message both to Moscow and to Washington. Canada will defend Europe, with or without American permission. So what is the bigger picture here? Carney's European mission is about building a new foundation for Canadian sovereignty. It's about proving that Canada is not a junior partner waiting on American decisions. It's about securing trade, resources, and security alliances that give Ottawa real independence in a chaotic world. This pivot doesn't mean abandoning the United States. Far from it. But it does mean balancing America's unpredictability with Europe's stability. And in doing so, Carney is laying out a vision: Canada as a middle power that works with many partners, not just one. As Trump raises tariffs and Europe raises its defenses, Canada is raising its game. Carney's tour of Europe is more than diplomacy. It is a bet on Canada's future. A bet that our prosperity, our security, and our influence can no longer depend on Washington alone. By forging deals in Poland, Germany, and Latvia, and by anchoring Canada into Europe's defense and energy future, Carney is writing the next chapter of Canadian sovereignty, one where Canada stands tall, diversified, and ready for the world ahead. This is Canada Today, bringing you the stories that shape our country's future. If you want to stay ahead of the biggest developments in Canada's politics, trade, and global role, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.